there, Mouseketeers. Welcome to the Disneyland Beat, where our toes tap to a Disneyland drum.
And we always whistle while we work.
Today, we're going to take a look at all the Disney castles, or at least a dozen of them. That's right, 12 castles.
Come on into the parks with us.
Like, subscribe, and stick around.
The first Disney park castle ever built is, of course, Sleeping Beauty's castle, which was the centerpiece of the park when it opened in 1955. The castle is 77 feet tall, and it uses forced perspective to make it seem taller. At Disneyland, the castle opened as a walkthrough so you could get up close and personal in 1959.
It might be the smallest, but to those of us for whom Disneyland is our home park, it is the prettiest and most charming. Too small to look as if you could live in it, yet still glorious and impressive. It seems right out of a fairy tale to us and maintains the intimacy we expect from Disneyland. Nonetheless, the Imagineers were still thinking pretty big considering it was the first park and that park was built in a year. The original castle still stands, beautiful and majestic.
It is the castle of the Disneyland series and of the wonderful world of color, and it was the most recognizable Disney castle for decades, and it became a symbol of the company.
It was designed by Roland E. Hill and is famously backwards, as Walt saw the upper part of the model, tried turning it around, liked it, and that's how it stayed. The castle is heavily influenced by the gabled turrets of Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany.
The second level of the castle does support weight, but it's only accessible to cast members and used for special events. It has been used many times, though, throughout the years for performers, for launching short-range fireworks. You know, of course, this is the only Disney castle that Walt Disney himself knew in his lifetime. In 1971, Walt Disney World's Cinderella Castle opened standing an impressive 189 feet tall. Any taller and they would have had to put a warning beacon on for aircraft. Like everything at Walt Disney World, they had the space, the time, and the funds to plan out a more epic castle than what they had done at Disneyland, assured that they would have the crowds to meet the huge capacity.
In Cinderella's castle, guests can dine in the popular restaurant Cinderella's Royal Table, where they will enjoy meeting a handful of Disney princesses. There's even an invitation-only suite in the top of the castle where the lucky few get to spend a magical night.
The castle was designed by Herb Ryman, and it borrows elements from many of the famous castles and palaces of Europe, while referencing the castle from the Cinderella movie and the Sleeping Beauty castle at Disneyland.
It is an engineering marvel. In addition to its beauty and housing a huge restaurant and guest suite, the whole thing is built on top of utilidors. It has several elevators, it houses break and storage rooms, and a huge kitchen while servicing the nighttime spectaculars too, all under 27 impressive towers.
For many years, from the 1970s through to the 2000s, we think it is fair to say that the Cinderella castle image and the graphic was the most used on national and international media, as the most recognized Disney castle during that time.
Opening in 1983, Cinderella's castle in Tokyo Disneyland is similar to the one in Magic Kingdom in terms of styling, but there are a few minor differences. The castle is slightly shorter than its sister castle in Orlando at only 168 feet tall due to local ordinances, and some of the details are in starker contrast.
Cinderella Castle in Tokyo used to have a famous walkthrough attraction called Cinderella Castle Mystery Tour that involved the villains taking over, and it ended with the terrifying Horned King animatronic, like the Horned King from The Black Cauldron, the movie that not many people know about. It has since been reopened as a more charming retelling of the Cinderella story, and this castle, like many others, has also featured lots of seasonal and celebratory overlays.
Its most distinctive feature is the high array of lit water fountains. Think World of Color meets Cinderella's castle, and it's put to use for nighttime spectaculars. It's pretty amazing.
As the world seems to get a little smaller and we become more aware of what is going on in the parks around the world, we've really entered a new era, where parks appeal to both local and global markets and a need to be unique. There really isn't a whole lot of room for carbon copies of the castles anymore. Some parks have dealt with this by expanding and refurbishing their castles, and others by adding more. So more on that later.
Before we move on, we want to take a moment to recognize the first Cinderella's castle at a Disney park. Cinderella's castle is the grandest and largest castle on the Storybook Land Canal Boats ride at Disneyland. It even used to be on the park map and pointed out as the second castle act in Disneyland.
At many of the parks on the canal boat rides, we get to see the castles of practically every Disney story to have one in miniature.
Le Château de la Belle à Bois Dormant means the castle of the beauty in a sleeping wood. Sleeping Beauty's castle in Disneyland Paris opened in 1992 and is 167 feet tall and sits atop a hill straight out of the animated film.
Disney found it challenging designing a castle for Paris, France. You have to consider that the previous castle had simply borrowed elements from famous European castles. The people could actually just hop on a train and visit when they lived in France. So after many models and attempts, they ended up falling back on an approach favored by Imagineer Tom Morris to design a castle after the artwork in the film.
Ivan Earle's stylized and somewhat modern artwork for Sleeping Beauty was the main inspiration for the castle. It even has those splendid square trees. Beneath the castle is a short walk-through attraction with a sleeping dragon that occasionally wakes up and breathes smoke. In the top of the castle, there are stunning mosaics and stained glass windows that tell the story of Sleeping Beauty.
There are a few gift shops in the castle as well, and this castle does borrow a princess who already had a castle. But we think the hill detail really makes it stand out. It's just beautiful. It looks to be lifted right out of the pages of an enchanted fairy tale. The quality of the decorations, the elegance, the space, it's just the height of Disney Imagineering and beauty.
In 2012, with the new Fantasyland expansion at the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, 2 small attraction-based castles were added. The smaller is the Beast's Castle, seen just above the Be Our Guest restaurant entrance.
The second is a bit more grandiose, and it's Prince Eric's castle from The Little Mermaid, topping the voyage of The Little Mermaid show. This gorgeously designed castle has wonderful detail. It's a bit taller, but both of these castles are stunning, and they feel a bit like a cross between a full-size Disney castle and a miniature, relying heavily on forced perspective to create the illusion of height and size.
If Walt Disney World built off of Disneyland, Shanghai Disneyland is the culmination of all the parks to come before it in scale.
The Enchanted Storybook Castle opened in 2016, and it's the tallest of all of the Disney castles ever built, at an impressive 200 feet. That's 20 stories tall. Like the Castle of Magical Dreams, it features homages to many Disney princesses. It isn't just modeled after one, like the majority of other Disney castles are. The castle has a familiar Renaissance profile, like most of the Disney castles, but it features a little more realism to the design.
It is absolutely epic, having not only the tallest towers but the largest square footage. It is huge. The look of Enchanted Storybook Castle was inspired by many other Disney castles, including Cinderella Castle and Sleeping Beauty Castle.
The features include a walk-through attraction, a Disney character dining restaurant, and a water ride goes right through the castle, the Voyage of the Crystal Grotto. It's a really cool ride. On the tallest tower, there's a peony flower sculpture that represents Shanghai, giving voice to the motto of the theme park, authentically Disney, distinctly Chinese.
So finally, to Hong Kong Disneyland. This castle originally opened in 2005, and until 2018, Sleeping Beauty Castle stood in the heart of Hong Kong Disneyland. The castle was almost an exact copy of the one in Disneyland at only 77 feet tall, with just subtle differences in color found in Anaheim's version.
In preparation for Hong Kong Disneyland's 15th anniversary, the castle was closed to be completely redone. Much of the original structure has been kept, but several tall towers and rooms were added behind and around it.
The construction of the new castle ran into delays, but it recently opened as Castle of Magical Dreams and is being welcomed warmly by parkgoers, the newest Disneyland castle. The new castle pays tribute to 13 different princesses, including classic ones like Snow White and Cinderella, alongside newer heroines like Moana and Tiana.
The castle has an overall grand and elegant design that ties all the towers together. It still looks like one castle. And the castle is now 167 feet tall and far more impressive sight in what is a pretty tall city. And it's also very notable that this is the first major expansion of a Disney castle ever.
The Beauty and the Beast attraction is set entirely within the beautiful castle that just opened up this summer, and it is really a wonderful one.
This is the first castle of this scale to house a modern e-ticket attraction. Disneyland is the first park to have 2 large-scale castles in it. The Beauty and the Beast castle is a far cry from the one at Walt Disney World. Coming in at a towering 108 feet tall, it is truly beautiful and it brings the film to life. Another smaller but very impressive attraction castle is King Triton's castle at Tokyo Disney Sea. This castle heralds the entrance to the Mermaid Lagoon, and it's really cool. It glows at night, really beautiful and unique castle.
The next Disney castle will be Arendelle Castle of Frozen fame. This castle is coming to Disneyland Paris as part of a huge expansion with several Frozen attractions, a Star Wars land, and Avengers Campus.
A version of the castle is also being built at Tokyo Disneyland, Tokyo Disney Sea, actually, I think, where they are receiving a huge frozen expansion and a Tangled Land. It's going to have a huge tower, and also they're getting soaring.
It seems likely that new Disney castles will continue the trend of becoming the second and even third castles in the park. For us, we're always content with the beauty of the original unbeatable charm of Sleeping Beauty Castle at Disneyland.
Well, that's it for us today. Thanks for joining us and checking out the many beautiful Disney castles around the world. Did we forget one? Even if it's a small one, let us know.
Good day, lords and ladies, princes and princesses, Mouseketeers. We will see you real soon.
See you real soon.